the weather here in Florida. We go through our rainy season. God love our rainy season, but a lot of jobs get pushed back when that happens. How long does it take to dry out? Like, especially if you're working on a building that I would say a wood structure, like, don't you have to give it extra time to dry out? You can't just say, okay, well, it rained today, we'll be back there tomorrow, right?
You technically can. It depends on the wall. And it depends on multiple factors, but that wall could be a sheer wall, a large wall with not many penetrations that's getting direct sunlight. We have the rain, but we also have the sun. So the sun has the ability to dry it out very fast. Do look for any kind of cracks that's going to allow water into the building. That's where the issue, because if it gets in, it needs to get out. And if we're going to trap it in there, then it becomes an issue. And so what we keep our eye out on is the cracks on the failing sealants, where it starts to actually show it. It's actually advantageous during the rainy season to be able to see these cracks, because after a storm, the whole wall will look completely wet. But as it dries out, the areas that have extra humidity in them, or moisture or true water, are going to show themselves in a pattern where it's either following a block lines or different issues, that it's going to show those patterns where we're going to know where the water is. And that's where we need to concentrate our efforts to be able to keep that water out.
So is it, when you see the bubbling on the side with the paint bubbling or whatever, is that from using cheap paint, or is that from actually just there's already moisture there and you don't know it?
You could get a bubble on a wall of any structure with any paint. And it doesn't matter the quality of the paint. What it's showing is that there is water behind the paint. It's inside the substrate. It could be deep, it could be fairly superficial, but there is water behind there and it's trying to get out. And so that paint's actually holding it, and it's working in a reverse effect. The paint, it can't get out because it's trapped inside, versus we want it opposite. We want the water not to be able to get into it. And so what that typically is caused by is either cracks in the walls or failing sealants around windows or doors, and potentially balconies as well, is a common one underneath the balcony. So a lot of your breezeways and your balconies are a slab that's kind of floating out there that cantilevers out from the building. And underneath it, when you look underneath, that is a common area for the paint to fail. It blisters, it bubbles, it flakes up, very common there. And that's because up on top of that slab, it's typically not either pitched well and or not waterproof. All balconies here in Florida need some form of waterproofing on top of them. And just tile is not sufficient. Water goes through the grout lines, through your average tile, absorbs the water through. And so if you don't have a true waterproofing system on top of there, it's going to eventually absorb through the slab, and then it comes out the bottom, and that's where it makes the paint fail.